Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the ninth episode of Gyanki Tech Talks. So, in the past eight episodes, we have focused on various aspects of electromobility, which is charging infrastructure, battery technology, EV market analysis, and also we had a special episode where we focused on the electric marine industry. Today also we are going for something different, and joining us today are Mr. Varun Maheshwari and Mandar Dharankar. Mr. Mandar is an EV driver and a proud owner of India's best-selling EV, the Tata Nexon, since the month of July, and has nearly covered nearly 13,000 kilometers in a span of 6 months. And those are green kilometers. Mr. Varun is a car enthusiast who likes to guide his friends and family towards the right car choice and has test driven all the electric car offerings in India. Today's topic is the grass greener on the other side. We'll focus on the pros and cons of EV ownership, how addictive that instant EV talk feeling is, and much more. We would like to welcome both of you, sir, on behalf of Gyanaki and today's participants.
Thank you. Thank you.
Over to you, Mr. Harsh.
Okay, good morning again. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 9 of Tech Talks. Like Sashwat mentioned, I mean, we are still in the early stages of EVs, but in the last few months, we've been hearing that the vehicles that have been selling are getting really, really positive reviews. It's nice to know that the homegrown maker is come up with a product that has truly wowed the people who've bought them. And the sales numbers of the past year on the Nexon give us a very good indicator of that. Of course, that's not the only product, and which is why we have our guest today. Um, like you mentioned, Mandar has bought a vehicle for personal use, and Varun has experience testing and experiencing and evaluating a lot of different products. So we'll see what all of that looks like. When it comes to questions, that I like to start with Mandar. Mandar, what were your primary reasons for considering to buy an EV, and do you own a ICE, conventional vehicle also as a backup or as an alternate vehicle, or what was your 'cause we know that EVs are still new, right? Someone has to take the first initiative. So why, like, what made you do that?
Right. So, Harsh, you have multiple questions to ask for.
Yes.
Why EV? So basically, there are multiple reasons behind it. The reason for most of the reason is it's a city use that I'll be using this vehicle for. And secondly, we have a solar rooftop install it at my home. So if you want to make most of the use of the what we have invested in the solar panel, so it's better to use or add one more load onto the installation is to use the electric vehicle. So these are the two primary things that uh, uh, was the reason behind buying a EV.
Okay. And I mean, from just a like, were you not apprehensive about going for a completely new technology and the fact that you may face challenges, or since you mentioned you have a solar panels on home, I'm guessing you also have a type 2 sort of a charging option at home, or is that do you prefer going to an outside charging station, or something like that, like, or is that not a huge concern for you?
Not a concern, Rish. The reason being, it's a free installation that Tata does it at your home before
Okay.
the delivery is there. And it's a normal 24 volt AC charging. So uh, it's a habit that we have it like the way we charge our mobile phones daily, right? So in that sense, it doesn't make a sense like when you're in the mid of the day and you have to charge it. That doesn't happen because we have a fair amount of a range as well. So the initial few days, like you have some new feeling, like you have to plug it and charge it. but apart from that, nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, can you share a bit of? Sorry, you were saying something. I apologize.
Yes. So as a backup, you also ask like whether do you have a normal IC engine? Yes, I do have another vehicle. The reason is like it's uh, a diesel vehicle that we used to have for more than 5 years now, and we have a good amount of intercity travel as well. So in that sense, it's a required thing. But if you ask me purely if someone is just home to work kind of a person, EV would make a difference to him in terms of its operational cost. For me, if you ask me, I have a zero operational cost because I don't get a light bill because of it. So that's a major thing. And if I compare some 6 months back when we used to be in a pre-COVID situation, I used to have a petrol vehicle also that I recently sold, and I used to have around 4,000 petrol uh, bill as such, right? So I'm saving that amount. And if you see a comparison between what I used to use a petrol vehicle that time, so it was not more than 600 a month, right? 600 kilometers a month. And now what I'm using is close to 2,000. So yeah, that's a big difference because someone gives you something free, then you make most of it, right? So that's a tendency that we normally have.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with that. And why not? I mean, I also I know for a fact that Tata Motors has done a lot in this case where they have pretty much provided like even people who have other EVs, a lot of cab fleets are running around in a city like Pune.
Yes.
And Tata offers this option to go to their dealership and basically charge for free. So and it doesn't matter what make your vehicle is. So that's a really nice thing to see. From a like if you can share just a little bit about what is your usual like your driving pattern and what sort of mileage do you accumulate on a on a weekly or a monthly basis or something like that, just to get an idea. We know that the at least in the Nexon's case, the range is at least the touted range is around 300 kilometers. But in a real world scenario, what have you noticed so far?
So in real life, Harsh, we get around 190 or 200, not more than that. But that is fair enough. That anyhow you have to charge it at home, so there is no problem as such that you have to go somewhere else to charge it, right? So 200 is something like I have got maximum, and that too depends on the driving patterns, like the way you drive it, how much throttle input you give it frequently, what sort of road conditions and AC operation. That's all. So how much time you use the AC, that also has a big impact on it. But yes, that's a key thing. Like 180, 200 kilometers is something that you can, yeah, you can bear it.
And I'm guessing this is mostly a lot of like a traffic sort of situation and with a lot of wait times with the air conditioning on, with the auxiliary loads and stuff like that, which is why you maybe see just 200.
Yes. So if you are having, so it is a range. It's not a one value as such, Harsh. But if you go at a lower side, it will be around 150 also. So 150 to 200. So that is a big range, that minimum maximum what you can say, and that is purely depends on where you're driving also.
Of
So
course.
people say like in city you will get a good range. I haven't experienced that, so because on a straight patch if you drive it, right, so on the outskirts of the highway or somewhere, so the thing is like you hardly put more throttle, right? So in that case you get a maximum range. So, for example, 10% if you are consuming 10% charge you are consuming, so I shall be covering almost 13 to 14 kilometers in that 10%. And if you compare to driving in the city, it will take more because you are using the accelerator more frequently.
So basically, what we are so just to summarize it for everybody, and I think this makes sense for most people who drive cars on a daily basis. even though the way we drive EVs is different, it's and when we say outer highways or not the service roads or internal city, we are not really seeing speeds of pretty very high like we see on interstates or expressways and stuff. So that's sort
Right.
of the very ideal condition where I'm pretty much I'm coasting. I'm not using my throttle application is not much, and it makes sense that that would probably be the area where we'd see a very good amount of range. In the cities, yes, EVs tend to be way better than conventional vehicles, but the fact that stuff like Pune, like metro cities like Pune and Mumbai and stuff have so much traffic that you're waiting half the times and the AC and the loads and stuff are taking out of your range. So it makes sense. Okay, so my next question is for Varun. Since you have driven, so many vehicles, uh, just from a purely drivability perspective, right? Let's say somebody who's owned and been driving a EV for the past 10, 12 years. I'm sorry, driving a conventional vehicle for the past 10, 12 years, suddenly buys an EV and starts using it, basically replaces it. There is no other a conventional vehicle remaining. So from a driver, from a drivability perspective, can you share some ideas, some thoughts with us on what that feels like? How long did it take for you to adapt? What was that like, or maybe how long did it take you to get comfortable with it?
See, like if you have a diesel engine or a petrol engine, you don't have to worry about the distance. You get petrol from everywhere. That is the main concern because we are having range problem in the electric vehicle. First of all, this and to adapt the driving capabilities or the driving pattern, it's like it will take a week or not more than that. The difference is just the vibrations and all. You have many a times you have judgment on the vibrations also when to change the gear. In this, it is automatic. Firstly, this is the thing ki, earlier no one is having automatic vehicle or uh, a few percent of people are having automatic vehicle. So this is the thing in to change. It will take a week, not more than that. But once you are driving EV or once you are driving automatic, you will get addictive to it.
Okay. So my next question is sort of for to address to both of you in a way. Uh, and this is from a charging perspective, right? Because depending on the owner, you may have a home setup, you may not have the space. Even may be providing a solution to you. They may even provide a solution where you could install a level 2 at home, but maybe you don't have the space. And so far, we know that there isn't a lot of uh, infrastructure otherwise, right? So there's a bit of a challenge right now. So from a charging perspective, what is your thought so far on the ease of it? And my second question and more important one is between the two of you, and when it comes to charging, do you usually prefer? So we know from Mandar now that he charges the vehicle at home, which means that a lot of times he's using slow charging, right?
Yes.
Now we know that majority of the buyers may end up doing a lot of DCFC, or at least the fleet companies may end up doing DCFC, which is fast charging. When it comes to that one, that sorry, Varun, what is your take on that? What do you prefer from a charging perspective? And has there been any information or guidelines from the OEM that you should split the charging between two or something like that?
Like companies suggest that DC charging should be only in emergency, not regularly.
Okay.
And like we shared with Mandar also, we had word with Mandar also. He also told that he got the guidelines that only in a month or so that we should do DC charging. मेन सिंपल फंडा इज कि घर से निकलते समय हम मोबाइल पूरा चार्ज करके निकलते ही है, उतना हमारा हमेशा ही रहता है. सो घर पे ही इफ यू डू इट एट होम 100% charge is taken from home only, so it is more better. we don't have that much infra in cities right now. Only showroom to showroom we are having the infra. Few cities like Hyderabad or Bangalore are having charging stations in the parking lot, or you say anywhere on the road. I've seen some parking stations in Hyderabad. They are having fast chargers and slow chargers. If like you are going for a movie, 3 hours you are there, you can go for slow charging also. But fast charging is not recommended that much. Only in emergencies, or like you are on a highway and you want like a boost of 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers. So you should prefer DC charging. Most preferable is you should keep the charging setup at home or at the office. If you are a businessman or you are having your own office area, so you should prefer there. You should
Right.
make a setup there.
Right. So, team, yes, adding to what Varun said, yes, slow charging is preferable because the way we charge our mobile phones, right? And the second thing is like there is no kind of a bigger setup, if you tell me. It's a like a adapter with a, normal socket, and there is a charger. So you can have it in your boot, and you can go to another location, and you can place it. So charging is pretty simple. The way we do it for our laptop and mobiles. The only thing is like you have to do it, or rather to have it in your garage or in your parking space. Onto the DC charging, yes, at least in Pune, it's not like you have to go at the service stations only to have a fast charging. There are areas, there are locations where you can do the fast charging also. Like you have a Chroma where there are outlets where the free charging is there. So we also have nearby Chroma where there is no facility as such, and we have requested them to at least have one station, not a dual one, but one station. So that will definitely help in case you are having a emergency.
So, Mandar, I think you were mentioning that your brother. You told us that your brother took a test drive of the EV, and then you had decided, and this was last January when you took the decision to buy the vehicle.
Yes.
So, at that point, were any other options like the Mahindra EV, any other things, were they also looked into? Or, right? What was the, within EV, was there a choice?
Yes, Shekhar, there is a choice, of course. But if you consider like segment wise, so this is an Exxon comes into a sub 4 meter compact SUV. So giving the fact like we have a mix of road conditions here, right? So ground clearance was one of the key thing to buy the SUV. That was one. Second is like a comfort. So if you have got a chance to drive in through Nexon, you will get to know there the amount of comfort you get inside the cabin is a big step for us. And yes, the ground clearance, then the boot. So you don't get it in another vehicle. So that was my takeaway while we decided to go with a Nexon.
Over the last 6 months, have you experienced any major failures or any issues where you had to really take support of the OEM to resolve it? And can you elaborate a bit more on those?
Yes. So there is only one thing like Shikhar, on the range. If you see, so the display gives you when you charge it, right? You get a range in terms of kilometers. So that is something like during their each software patches they have upgraded it, and it now gives somehow realistic values. So earlier it was annoying to understand. It gives 300 something as a range, and that is for from 100% to 70% the value remains the same. So that was one of the, so that is a estimation that they put it on the display, right? But given the fact like uh, you use it daily and you get to know how much you will get out of it. So I'm using it for continuously 3 days, and my brother is using for another 3 days. So we get to know how much it will give and at what kilometers we have to take it back for charging. So that's the thing, and no more complaints as such. But only thing is like if you estimate it on the display, and if any new person drives it, he will just be in a confusion state. That's the only thing.
Okay. Harsh?
Yes. So just because we are on the subject, right? I'd like to just share a few thoughts with participants on why this is happening. Um, so in a conventional vehicle, we have a fuel tank. There is a sensor. It is a very easy way to, the sensor may have some variability, but it's pretty accurate. You're up to 2 to 3% accurate on how much fuel is left in that tank. The estimation of how much, or when we call distance to energy, distance to empty, is what range is, right? Which pretty much everybody who drives a vehicle may know or get an idea of. Now, this is difficult in the case of EVs because the SOC, or what we call as the state of charge of the battery pack, is an estimated number, right? It comes off a battery discharge curve. A battery is a electrochemical device that is not always linear, right? Operating temperatures, driving conditions, the life of the pack, a lot of these things tend to affect how that estimation is going to work. There are, of course, OEMs who have done this fantastically well, but a lot of them, like in the case of the Nexon, have had to see this, field usage and customer feedback to keep improving that logic and algorithm. Because I think this has been in the news as well, where vehicles have, they start with a range of 290, 300, and 10 minutes later, suddenly you see it at 180. And customers, you don't want your customer to face this shock. But this is one of the reasons why, the range estimation and that DTE display on vehicles is is a bit of a difficult thing and requires a lot of fine tuning at a vehicle validation level. Okay. All right.
Right.
So moving on, I have a question for Varun. Can you share with us as to what sort of different vehicles or products that you've experienced in the EV space, and from that entire bunch, what would be your top two picks?
See, I have driven KUV 100. Frankly saying, it is very small car, very small range, and in that price range, if you add up some 20-30% more, you get Nexon EV, which is having more mileage, more boot space, bigger car, uh, ground clearance. So from first pick is like Nexon EV. First, the reason is Tata badging,
Okay.
and a few luxury statements are there in Nexon EV. You feel premium in that also. It's not like Tata Indica जो सबके दिमाग में बैठा हुआ है, नहीं. Like you have a premium statement in Nexon EV. What price you are paying, you are getting few premium things. And the best thing is like Tata is everywhere. You go to a small town, a big city, anywhere Tata is there. Second pick is MG ZS EV, because it is top in right now. What all options we are having, it is giving everything, more features and more range, as the battery is bigger in that. So you get big battery, and more range, and the comfort in ZS EV is like nothing. You're on air, the pickup, the mileage, and the comfort you're getting.
Okay. So these are the three that you have extensively evaluated or
Yeah,
experienced. Okay.
Hyundai Kona was like not available in Nagpur that much. Only three vehicles are there. One is owned by the owner only, and owner of the showroom, and two are there, and they are not having for the test drive. There is no test drive vehicle. So Hyundai Kona is, and that too, everywhere I have seen, Hyundai Kona is not that good in compared to ZS EV or Nexon EV.
Not good in what sense?
Not good in the sense of features,
Okay.
premium looking, aggressive looking.
Mm.
Nowadays, everyone is buying in to,
Yes.
looking for the looks of aggressiveness.
Yeah.
So there are no aggressive looks in Hyundai Kona. It is somewhat like i20 active or something.
It is actually an I-20 active.
Yeah. So what I felt was ki if I am paying 25 lakhs or something more, so I want a good looking car or a premium looking car.
So
Not
from a quick question on the easy MG, okay, we know that it has regen modes, right? It has levels of regen. Did you try to use that or experience that?
yes, yes. The
Okay.
curse mode is there.
Yes.
It is working very nicely. They have three levels in that,
Mm-hmm.
and if you put it on the third level, you will feel if you are on 90 also, and if you put your leg from the acceleration, you will feel braking is a good kind of braking is there.
Okay.
So in that regeneration is been done
Yes.
there. So it is very good and very effective. I don't know how much it is giving back the charge to your battery, but it works very well. You don't have to apply brakes. If almost braking work is done by the curse feature.
Right. So again, folks, when Varun talks about level three regen, we're talking about regenerative braking, and the ones who may not be aware of this, there's a concept of one pedal driving. It's a feature. It's not a concept. It's more like a feature that gets to be advertised. It's both in the Kona and the MG Easy S, and what it basically means is that the regenerative braking is so strong that in pretty much in city and urban conditions, if you drive your vehicle you may never need to use your brake pedal at all. So the only time you use your brake pedal is to come to a dead stop. Pretty much every other situation, you let off the brake, and it's like engine braking basically. And you know, it again something that may take a while to get used to. Which is why again this is something that I've mentioned maybe in the past if you attended that if you live in a city like Pune maybe or you know even Nagpur, do go try it out. If you know we have experience with the Kona quite a bit, which is available in Pune, and the dealerships are not that you know they are welcoming in the sense that they do want people to be more aware of these vehicles. So features like regen and how the climate control is different, how the energy. So all of these vehicles have cluster displays telling you what is like an efficiency coach, right? How much energy is flowing from the pack, how much is going back to the pack. It's a lot of interesting stuff. So if you have some time out on a Saturday or Sunday, or if it's something that you know if we have decent enough numbers and you'd like for us to arrange, you know please reach out to us and sure Ganiki can do something like that. Okay, all right. So moving on, the both to Mandar now. Any so you're a you know a daily driver, so that makes a lot of difference from somebody you know who's test driving vehicles and stuff. But you own it; it's part of your life. Uh, any thoughts or suggestions on improvements, things that could be better? I know range is always going to be an issue. Um, till the time we get vehicles with 500-kilometer ranges, I think everybody is going to complain. But other than that, as a product, as an overall product, what do you think could be better? Or Just your general thoughts on that.
Yes. So Harsh, on the improvement front, uh, I didn't understand why Tata haven't have their headlamps in LED, because if they get it into the LED, the consumption or the load on the battery will be diverted, right? It will be minimized somehow. So that indirectly will give a good range. Apart from that, uh, there is a one feature like at this price point that we have is a hill hold, right? So when you are at a steep and if it is in a neutral mode, right, so you have to keep it in a neutral for a signal, and once you release your brake pedal, the vehicle goes back, and you have to, okay, you have to press the accelerator very harshly as such, so that you get into the momentum. That is something there should be a kind of a feature that Tata should add it, or else what happens, like I'm habitual to it. I put the handbrake, and then once the pedal is partially accelerator pedal is partially pressed, then I release my handbrake, so that I don't avoid hitting back to the vehicle which is there in the back of the back of my vehicle. So that is something that as an improvement Tata should do to avoid such kind of a situation, because people will get to use, and if you are having a first time driving like this, it will be a difficult situation.
So you're saying that is this also happening when you're in drive? So let's say if you're in drive and you're on a steep incline, is it still rolling back?
Not
Okay. So in what situations do you feel like you really need the hill hold function then? I think we may have lost Mandar again. Come back to it. Varun, still with us?
Yeah.
What about your thoughts? Outside of range, outside of on a pure EV level perspective, any thoughts
Yeah.
on what solutions could be provided?
One thing that Mandar covered up, that in Nexon you're not getting LED headlamps, which will boost up a bit of kilometers if you give LED headlamps. Second is, what I thought is, in this price range, every car should get climate control AC, automatic AC, so that I think it will also boost some of the power, some of the like battery will consume less energy, so it will give more mileage if you are having automatic AC. This is one thing, because in this range, in 15 lakhs price range, you are getting climate control AC, automatic AC in every cars in 15 lakhs price range. So this feature should be added in every EV, so that it is a technical thing, so that you get more mileage. Some compressor is not used sometimes, so it will boost your battery power. This
Okay.
is one thing I feel.
Okay. So okay, I think we also have Mandar back. Mandar, sorry we got interrupted. You were saying?
Yeah. So Harsh, I was saying like you have to get use of that particular thing. Like when it is in the steep and you release the pedal, the vehicle moves back, even if you are in a drive mode. So that's the only thing glitch that I think so they can sort it out.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, that definitely is an issue. If it's in drive and it rolls back, then that's it's interesting you mentioned that. I mean, no, absolutely no question on how amazing a product the Nexon is, but it's something that while testing the Tigor is something we've also experienced. And the Tigor is a very old one and an older architecture and a 70-volt 2-volt system, but the same exact issue with the gearbox and not having enough crawling torque is a concern. Okay. Any other thoughts on just being a pure EV, from just being an EV perspective? Let's take out everything else that is common with ICE vehicles, features, looks, lights. Let's all of that be away for a second. Let's just focus on what is different between the two technologies. Uh, and On that front, Mandar, what do you think?
Yeah, it's if you see, it doesn't feel like you are having a low torque vehicle as such. You get ample torque, and what good thing Tata has is like they have a S mode also, which is a sports mode. If you get a chance, if you just roll on the to the sports mode, you will get ample of power, and yes, it will have an impact on the battery consumption, but that's fine. But if you are having a fun, right, so you will definitely get a like a what you can say is like putting into a turbo mode. So that's a good feature that I like, and having it in a EV is also a good thing, right? You are also experiencing it on a flat surface, so in that sense that is good. Secondly is noise. So if you notice, you have a good amount of road noise also, because there is no background noise of engine, right? So the because being a silent is also having some other drawbacks. But
Correct.
yes, if you're on a radio, then you don't have that much of an issue. In fact, recently we had a rain right in the city, and the automatic rain wipers. So the noise of that rain wiper was pretty high, and I could hear it. The reason being the engine, there is no engine, right? So you have to hear something like that. So that's the funny thing out of it. But yes, a few improvements is there, but I don't think so. If you are having a daily home to work, right, 50 kilometers, then EV should make a sense, because you hardly have any operational cost. Even if people who don't own or have a solar panel or something like that, they won't be having that much of a operational cost compared to petrol or diesel car. That is for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I think we are pretty much at the end of the session. I do have one final round, question to round things out. But before that, I think I lost you guys for a while in between when I had some issues. And what I wanted to get at was that you did mention of the OEM guideline of trying to avoid fast charging, right? The reason I'm going back to this question is because there is a lot of infrastructure development that's happening wherein 50 kilowatt fast chargers are being installed right across the country, right? And the idea that I'm trying to understand, with what I'm trying to understand here, is that has the company provided any sort of uh, numbers on that guy? Like, are there any digits attached to it? For example, saying that, hey, after every 4 times you slow charge or every 3 times you fast charge, then you have to do a slow charge or something like that? Or is it just like a very generalized comment saying avoid fast charge at all times? Is that what they say?
Not avoiding a fast charge, but it's a ratio like 1:4, once in a
Okay. Yes.
4 weeks. So that's the only thing that they have said. I think so. If you read there during the launch, what the CTO also told, like fast charging is not so healthy for the battery as such. And if you are
Yes.
having a long run, I'm planning to run this vehicle for close to 1,50,000, because I have to make most out of it. So if I want to have this vehicle for such a long period, I should be rather worried about the battery, even if it is a 8 year warranty, what the company says. But still, that's the focus thing, right? And in fact, you have a home charging at, right? So if the charging is there, why to opt for a fast charging unless and until it's really required? There are incidents where you forget to charge in the night, and then you end up having a low charge. But yes, that's fine. That's something that you have to get used to it.
Yeah, this is, it's a very, very interesting take. And yes, it's true that from a battery chemistry and health perspective, a lot of fast charging is going to decrease the life really quickly. But a lot of countries abroad where, there is quite a more EV take rate, there's a lot of focus on extremely high speed fast charging, where you will basically have a top up in 5 or 10 minutes. And so this is what makes it interesting, this split. It also, I'm a little surprised that there isn't a more clear guideline on what should be done when it comes to charging. How many times, after how many times of fast charging you definitely have to slow charge. I believe that is something that the OEMs definitely should be communicating to owners. Okay, so Last question for this for the day for the event is to you, and that is, let's say that hypothetically speaking, in some magical world, uh, we have an ICE application that you've driven in the past, right? That comes within 5% of efficiency, energy efficiency, climatic, environmental efficiency, everything comes within 5% of EVs, and also maybe costs 20% less. Would you switch?
If my travel is between two cities, then yes. If it is
Okay.
in city, purely city, then it's no use, because if you consider that hypothetical situation, you have a practical ways like hybrid vehicles, right? Those are expensive though, but there is a hybrid vehicle called a Camry, which gives around 24 kilometers per liter. So that is also a solution. But no, if you are a pure city commuter, then I don't think so. You have to switch over to ICE engine.
Sorry. And if we provide you a five in that same hypothetical scenario, if I provide you a 600 or 500-kilometer range, will you then just not switch at all?
For me, yes, I currently have a operational cost of zero. So why should I?
Okay, fantastic. I think that couldn't be a better answer to that. Okay, all right, guys. I think that tends to round out our session for today. You
So,
know,
Harsh,
yes.
there are some members of the audience who would like to, ask a direct question as well. So, if Mandar and Varun are okay, we'll let them take that up.
Sure. If the folks in the audience don't mind, if you can maybe just raise a hand up, there's an option there, so that way we can just call you out. Uh, if that's okay.